Hello, I'm taking on a challenge to beat every playable Nintendo published game. Welcome to the next episode. The next game is Game & Watch Lion. This game marked the last game in the Game & Watch Gold series, ending the series after just 4 months and only 3 units. I'm not totally sure why, but this one didn't sell as well as the other games in this series. In Smash Bros., Game & Watch's forward tilt is a reference to this game, and one of the forms of the Flat Zone stage features this one. In this game, you play as 2 men trying to keep some lions in some sort of cage. I think you're supposed to be zookeepers, but honestly, I'm not entirely sure what the context is here. For some reason, these cages have openings on both ends, and the only way to keep the lions contained is to swing a chair in front of them to prevent them from escaping. Why are their cages so open? Why are you using chairs to keep them at bay? Once again, I don't think you're supposed to think too hard about it. These lions are pretty tricky too. They'll often fake out the zookeepers by looking like they're going to pop out, only to immediately back off. While this might seem like a good thing, since you can't get hit by these fake outs, they often use this to distract the zookeeper while another lion goes for the attack. If you fail, the lion escapes and the zookeeper runs up and hides up in a tree. This isn't quite as bad of a fate as some of the other Game & Watch games, since your character does manage to escape, although I guess being stuck in a situation like this would be pretty terrifying. Regardless, you lose a life each time a lion escapes. You gain points each time you successfully block the lions. Since the fakeouts don't give you any points, this one does move a bit slower than something like Vermin. To make up for this, each successful block earns you 2 points instead of the standard 1 point. The lions are also tricky enough that you pretty much always have to be giving the game your full attention. So even if it moves slower, you're always on your toes. Like the other games in the Game & Watch Gold series, getting to 200 points refills your lives. So my goal for this game was to get 200 points in both game modes. As always, I started with Game Mode A. In this mode, there are only 2 lions you have to watch out for. In many cases, the lions are generally pretty easy to manage since you have an equal number of zookeepers as lions. However, sometimes both of the lions will threaten one side, and it is in these moments where things get tough. You have to be quick to react to an attack, and if it's a fake out, you have to be able to respond quickly so that you have enough time to move to the other lion and prevent another potential attack. Despite these difficult moments, I still managed to make it past 200 points on my first try. In fact, I didn't even start to lose lives until I got past that point. After this, the lions started to move really fast, and I started to drop lives left and right. In the end, I made it to 276 points before losing my final life in a tricky situation, where I panicked and moved to the wrong lion. Next up was Game Mode B, and this is where things started to get really tough. In this mode, a 3rd lion is added. This meant that there was never a moment when there wasn't at least 2 lions on one side. This meant that you always had to be on guard and ready to react, since at any point you had to react to which lion was attacking next. At this point, I started to realize that the best way to play was to just keep your zookeepers in the middle and react whenever a lion attacked. The lions would move pretty quickly, so if you weren't in the middle and had to move 2 spaces to get to the attacking lion, there was a higher chance you wouldn't make it in time. My first run looked pretty good, but I got destroyed within the last 40 points, and lost my lives one after the other, ending with a score of only 172. Didn't quite make it. I really wanted to reach that goal of 200, so I started again. This run didn't go any better though, and I ended up with 170 points, almost identical to my last run. Man, this mode was way tougher than the first one. My 3rd one went terribly, and I gave up after losing 2 lives before even making it to 60 points. Finally, on my 4th attempt, I managed to pull it off. After 200 points, I only had lost 1 life, and made it to the life refresh. My brain was pretty fried at this point, so I ended the run here. Game complete. On to the review. I enjoyed this one, and despite having the lowest sales in the Gold series, it might have been my favorite of the 3. There's a new element of quick reactions in this one, since you're never sure when a lion will attack. It's sort of a combination of the quick thinking required for Judge and the positional timings of Ball. That being said, despite giving you double points, this one does feel a bit slower paced, and as usual, high score chasing isn't my favorite, resulting in a score of 6 out of 10. Thanks for watching the video. If you want to see more of these in the future, make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you won't miss out on the next one. Also leave a like if you enjoyed it, since it'll help the channel grow and motivate me to continue this series. I hope I'll see you in the next step of my quest to beat every Nintendo game.